The SCP Foundation has contained gods, imprisoned concepts, and buried nightmares capable of ending civilization. But they have never encountered anything like what is about to unfold. The sky above Site-19 split open without warning. No portal, no dimensional distortion on their sensors, no reality-bending signature that their Scranton reality anchors could detect. The fabric of space simply tore, and something fell through. Something that radiated energy on a scale that sent every detection instrument in the facility screaming into the red. Dr. Amelia Sharma was in the middle of her fourth coffee when the alarms began. She'd been reviewing containment procedures for SCP-106 when the entire monitoring station lit up like a Christmas tree. Every screen showed the same thing, an impossible energy spike, on localized coordinates 40 kilometers north of the facility, power output exceeding anything in their database. What the hell? Senior researcher Morrison spun in his chair, fingers flying across his keyboard. That can't be right. The readings are saying this thing is putting out more energy than a nuclear reactor just by existing. Check for reality bending, Sharma ordered, her mind already racing through protocols. Could be a Scranton malfunction. Negative. Hume levels are normal. Whatever this is, it's not warping reality. Morrison's face had gone pale. It's just physically impossible. Dr. Sharma, the kinetic energy readings suggest this thing just hit the ground at terminal velocity and walked away without a scratch. No crater, no structural damage. It just landed. The communication system crackled to life. Attention all personnel. Unknown anomalous entity detected. Initiating contingency Keter protocol. Mobile Task Force Epsilon 11 Nine-Tailed Fox is en route to intercept and contain. All research staff maintain station lockdown. Through the monitoring station's windows, Sharma could see the controlled chaos of Site-19's response. Armed guards mobilized toward the vehicle bay. Researchers sealed laboratories and moved sensitive SCPs to secondary containment. The Foundation had drilled for this scenario 1,000 times. An unknown, powerful anomaly appearing without warning. They had no idea what was walking toward them. Goku rubbed the back of his head, frowning at the unfamiliar landscape. One moment he'd been training with Whis in the hyperbolic time chamber variant the Angel had created, pushing his body through dimensional barriers to understand the nature of Ultra Instinct. The next, reality had folded inside out, and he was falling through a tunnel of screaming colors before slamming into dirt and grass. The impact would have vaporized a mountain. Goku barely noticed it. "Whis?" he called out, extending his senses. Nothing. No familiar key signatures, no Vegeta's eternal simmering rage, no Beerus's divine presence, not even Earth's defenders, Piccolo, Gohan, Krillin. Just emptiness. Millions of tiny life forces scattered across what felt like a planet, but none he recognized. His stomach growled. "Great," Goku muttered. "Lost in another dimension and hungry. Chi-Chi's gonna kill me when I get back." He stretched, feeling his muscles respond perfectly. Whatever this place was, his body felt fine. His ki flowed normally, responsive and powerful. He could still sense energy, still transform if needed. The unfamiliar dimension didn't seem to reject his power. A strange sensation prickled across his skin. Something technological watching him. Not malicious exactly, but analytical. Cold. Goku turned, scanning the horizon. Trees, mountains in the distance, a road cutting through farmland. It looked almost like Earth, but the energy of the planet felt different. Younger somehow, less scarred by battles that had shattered continents. "Hello?" he shouted, cupping his hands around his mouth. "Anyone here? I'm kinda lost." The mobile task force arrived in 3 armored vehicles, establishing a perimeter 300 meters from the anomaly. Through high-powered optics, Commander Sarah Chen observed the target. Humanoid. Male. Approximately 175 centimeters tall. Orange and blue clothing that registered no technological components. Wild black hair. No visible weapons. He was waving. Target appears non-hostile, Chen reported into her comm. But readings are off the charts. Thermal imaging shows his body temperature is generating heat consistent with active nuclear fission. Recommend extreme caution. Approved, came the response from Site 19 Command. Initiate contact protocol. Do not engage unless threatened. Remember, we secure and contain, we don't provoke. Chen signaled her team. They advanced in formation, weapons trained but not aimed directly at the target. Standard procedure for intelligent anomalies: show capability without aggression. Goku's face brightened when he saw them approaching. People. Finally. He started walking toward them, and raising a hand in friendly greeting. Every weapon immediately locked onto him. Stop, stay where you are. Chen's voice boomed through a loudspeaker. Identify yourself. Goku stopped, confused. I'm Goku? Son Goku? I'm not from around here. Actually, I'm not even from this dimension. Do you guys know how I can get back home? The soldiers exchanged glances. Chen's tactical computer was feeding her real-time analysis. The anomaly's voice patterns suggested honesty. Linguistic analysis indicated no mimetic hazards. But the energy readings... Sir, we're from a nearby research facility. Chen lied smoothly. We detected your arrival. We'd like to help you, but we need you to come with us for processing. Standard procedure for dimensional travelers. Goku tilted his head, considering. These people felt weak, their power levels barely registered, but they seemed organized, official. Maybe they really could help. And if they had food at this research facility? You got anything to eat? Goku asked. I'm starving. Chen blinked. Of all the responses she'd expected from an entity radiating nuclear-level power. Yes, we have a cafeteria. If you come with us peacefully, we'll feed you and help you get home. Sounds great. Goku grinned and started walking toward them. Every training instinct, Chen had screamed that this was too easy. Anomalies didn't just cooperate, especially not ones that could apparently survive terminal velocity impacts. But orders were orders, secure and contain. As Goku climbed into the reinforced transport vehicle, designed to hold anomalies that could punch through steel, he settled onto the bench, and he's still smiling. The soldiers watched him nervously, fingers resting near triggers of weapons loaded with everything from telekill rounds to mimetic agents. Goku didn't notice. He was too busy looking out the window, fascinated by the unfamiliar technology. Wow, this vehicle doesn't use Ki at all. How's it moving? Chen's finger hovered over the emergency lockdown button. They had the anomaly. Contained. Cooperative. Against all odds, this was working. She had no idea she was transporting the most dangerous thing the Foundation had ever encountered. Back at Site 19, Dr. Sharma watched the transport approach on monitors. The O5 Council had already been notified. Containment cells were being prepared. Research teams assembled. The SCP Foundation had been studying the impossible for decades. They'd contained death itself, imprisoned gods, and buried horrors that made nuclear weapons look like children's toys. How hard could one humanoid anomaly be? If you want to see more crossover battles that's an unexpected universe collisions, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and universe you'd want to see in the comments below. Let's explore the infinite together. The transport rolled through Site-19's reinforced gates as massive blast doors sealed behind it. 20-ton slabs of concrete and steel designed to contain breaches from within. Goku pressed his face against the window, watching with childlike curiosity as they descended into what appeared to be an underground facility. "This place is huge," he exclaimed. "How far down does it go?" Commander Chen didn't answer. Her earpiece was feeding her a constant stream of updates from command. Containment cell prepared. Research team standing by. O5-8 personally monitoring. The weight of that last detail made her stomach tighten. When the O5 Council took personal interest in an anomaly, it meant one thing. They considered it a potential extinction-level threat. The vehicle stopped in a cavernous receiving bay. Armed personnel lined the walls to enough firepower to level a city block. Automated turrets tracked Goku's position as he stepped out of the transport, stretching his arms above his head. Man, that was a bumpy ride. He looked around at the soldiers, the weapons, the reinforced architecture. His smile faded slightly. This is a lot of security for a research facility. What kind of research do you guys do? Dr. Sharma emerged from an observation booth, flanked by 2 guards. She changed into a white lab coat, carefully cultivating the image of a harmless scientist. Behind her calm exterior, her mind was cataloging every detail of the anomaly. He looked completely human. No visible mutations, no reality distortions, no mimetic hazards. Just a man in strange clothing radiating enough power to light up a city. "Mr. Goku," she said warmly, extending a hand. "I'm Dr. Sharma. Welcome to our facility. We specialize in studying unusual phenomena. Your dimensional crossing triggered our detection systems, and frankly, we're fascinated. With your permission, we'd like to run some tests, completely non-invasive, to help understand how you traveled between dimensions. It might help us send you home." Goku shook her hand, his grip careful. He'd learned long ago that most people couldn't handle a Saiyan's full-strength handshake. "Tests? I guess that makes sense. As long as it helps me get back to Chi-Chi and the boys." "Excellent." Sharma gestured toward a corridor. "If you'll follow me, we'll start with a basic physical examination and energy scan." "And Commander Chen mentioned you were hungry?" "Starving. Our cafeteria is preparing a meal now. This way, please." As they walked through the facility, Goku's senses picked up something strange. The life forces here were normal, human, weak, nothing remarkable. But underneath, buried deep, he felt something else. Multiple somethings. Presences that made his warrior instincts tingle. Not hostile exactly, but dangerous. Contained. "Dr. Sharma," he said slowly, "what else do you keep down here?" The doctor's stride didn't falter, but her heart rate spiked, something Goku's enhanced senses detected immediately. "We study many unusual phenomena, Mr. Goku. Some require isolation for safety reasons. Nothing you need to worry about." They stopped at a large metal door marked Humanoid Containment Wing. Clearance level 3 required. Sharma placed her palm on a scanner. The door hissed open, revealing a corridor lined with reinforced cells, each one a self-contained environment designed to hold the impossible. "This will be your quarters while we run our tests," Sharma explained, leading him to an open cell. "I apologize for the austere accommodations, but it's the only space we have available on short notice. You'll find a bed, bathroom facilities, and we'll bring your meals here. The door isn't locked. You're free to move around designated areas." Goku stepped inside, examining the space. It was basically a large room with concrete walls, a simple bed, and a metal toilet. No windows. One door. His instincts screamed that this was a prison cell, not guest quarters. But these people had been nice so far. They'd promised food and help getting home. And Goku had never been good at complicated thinking. If they were lying, he'd figure it out eventually. "Okay," he said. "Now when do we start the tests?" "After you eat. We'll bring food shortly. In the meantime, please try to relax." Sharma smiled and stepped out. The door closed with a heavy thunk. Through the observation window, one-way glass that Goku couldn't see, she watched him settle onto the bed, bouncing slightly to test the mattress. He looked completely at ease, like a tourist in a hotel rather than a potential world-ending threat in a containment cell. He actually believed it. Morrison whispered beside her. He just walked into containment voluntarily. "Don't celebrate yet," Sharma muttered. "Run continuous monitoring. I want energy readings, behavioral analysis, everything. And get me the psychological profile team. We need to understand what motivates him before we proceed to actual containment protocols." "You don't think this will hold him?" Sharma looked at the readings on her tablet. The anomaly was generating more energy sitting still than most SCPs did at full activity. "Not even close. This is just reconnaissance. We're learning about him. Once we understand what he wants, what he fears, what drives him, then we can design real containment." 3 levels above, in a secure conference room, 5 faces appeared on encrypted video screens. The O5 Council didn't meet in person. Too dangerous, too much risk of a single catastrophic event eliminating the Foundation's leadership. But for this, they made an exception to their usual communication protocols. Preliminary designation, SCP 8000, 051 announced, his voice distorted by encryption. "Classification pending, but I'm recommending immediate Keter status. We've never seen an anomaly with this energy output that appears fully sentient and mobile." "Agreed," said O5-3. "But initial reports suggest he's cooperative, possibly naive. Dr. Sharma believes he genuinely thinks we're helping him." "Then we exploit that," O5-8 cut in. "We've dealt with reality benders, gods, and conceptual entities. One physically powerful humanoid shouldn't be beyond our capabilities. Don't underestimate him." O5-12 pulled up readings on her screen. The energy analysis suggests he could level this entire facility with minimal effort, if he realizes he's being contained rather than helped. Then we ensure he doesn't realize. O5-1's tone was final. "Deploy psychological specialists. Keep him comfortable, well-fed, distracted. Run your tests, and gather data and develop proper containment protocols. We have one chance to do this right. If he escapes and decides the Foundation is hostile." The sentence hung in the air, unfinished. "Understood." Sharma's voice came through the intercom. "We'll proceed with caution. But sir, about the other Keter-class SCPs in this wing. If he encounters them..." "He won't," O5-1 interrupted. "Maintain separation protocols. The last thing we need is SCP-8000 interacting with 682 or 076. Focus on understanding him first, containing him second. And if containment proves impossible?" The silence stretched for 5 seconds. "Then we discuss termination protocols," O5-1 said quietly. "But let's hope it doesn't come to that." In his cell, Goku lay on the bed, hands behind his head, staring at the ceiling. Something felt off about this place, and the people were friendly enough, but their energy felt cold, calculating, like they were studying him rather than helping. But maybe he was being paranoid. Not everyone wanted to fight. Not every situation was a battle. Maybe these really were just scientists trying to help. His stomach growled again, louder this time. Then again, if they didn't bring food soon, he might have to go looking for their kitchen himself. And Goku had never been good at following directions when he was hungry. 2 floors below, in containment cell 682, something stirred. The massive reptilian entity that had survived nuclear fire, acid baths, and attempts to launch it into the sun lifted its head. It had felt the new arrival, a power signature unlike anything on this pathetic planet. For the first time in decades, SCP-682 felt something other than hatred and boredom. It felt curiosity. The food arrived 20 minutes later on a steel cart wheeled in by a nervous D-class personnel. A prisoner sentenced to serve the Foundation until his inevitable death during anomalous testing. The man's hands shook as he pushed the cart through the cell door, eyes fixed firmly on the floor. Goku sat up immediately, his face lighting up. "Finally, I'm starving!" He lifted the metal cover off the tray and his expression fell. 1 sandwich, a cup of soup, an apple, a glass of water. This is it. Goku picked up the sandwich, examining it. This is barely a snack. The D-class mumbled something and hurried out. The door sealed behind him. Goku devoured the food in approximately 8 seconds, then stared at the empty tray with profound disappointment. His stomach growled again, barely satisfied. He was used to eating enough food to feed a small army. His Saiyan metabolism demanded massive caloric intake, especially after any exertion. A dimensional crossing definitely counted as exertion. Through the observation window, Dr. Sharma watched with fascination as the anomaly's energy output briefly spiked, just a flicker, but enough to send the monitoring equipment screaming warnings. Did you see that? Morrison pointed at the readout. His power level jumped 30% when he got irritated about the food. Emotional response triggers, Sharma murmured, making notes. His energy output correlates with his emotional state. Fascinating and concerning. She activated the intercom. "Mr. Goku, was the meal insufficient?" Goku looked around, trying to find where the voice was coming from. Yeah. I usually eat way more than that. And like 100 times more. Maybe 200. Sharma and Morrison exchanged glances. "You eat 200 times that amount per meal?" "Sometimes more if I've been training hard." Goku shrugged. "Is that weird here?" "Noted. We'll arrange a larger meal immediately." Sharma cut the intercom and turned to Morrison. "Get me the nutritional team and increase the food budget for SCP-8000 by a factor of, let's say 500 to be safe." 500. You saw the energy readings. That body is burning calories at an impossible rate. If we want him cooperative, we keep him fed. 30 minutes later, 3 D-class personnel wheeled in a cart loaded with food. Goku's eyes went wide with delight as they unloaded tray after tray. Roasted chicken, mountains of rice, steaks, pasta, bread, vegetables, desserts, mas, and enough beverages to stock a restaurant. "Now that's more like it." Goku grabbed a whole chicken and bit into it. "Thanks." The D-class personnel retreated quickly, leaving Goku to his feast. He ate with single-minded enthusiasm, working through the mountain of food at superhuman speed. Within 10 minutes, every plate was empty, every glass drained. He patted his stomach contentedly. "Okay, that's better. So when do we start those tests?" Dr. Sharma entered the cell personally this time, flanked by 2 guards carrying what looked like scanning equipment. She decided direct interaction would yield better results than remote observation. The anomaly responded well to personal engagement. "Right now, if you're ready," she said pleasantly. These are just basic scans. They won't hurt at all. May I ask you some questions while we work? Sure. Goku stood, cooperative and relaxed. The technicians set up their equipment: electromagnetic scanners, radiation detectors, energy field analyzers, devices designed to measure everything from quantum fluctuations to reality stability. Every instrument immediately redlined. Interesting, Sharma said, keeping her voice neutral despite her racing heart. Mr. Goku, you mentioned you're not from this dimension. What exactly were you doing when you crossed over? Training with my teacher, Whis. He's an angel, super powerful, way stronger than me. We were working on this technique called Ultra Instinct, where your body moves without thinking. He was having me practice by pushing through dimensional barriers. Dimensional barriers, Sharma repeated, writing rapidly. And you can break through dimensions? Not usually by myself, but Whis was guiding me. I guess something went wrong and I ended up here instead of back in the time chamber. Time chamber? Hyperbolic time chamber. It's this pocket dimension where time moves different. One day outside equals a year inside. Great for training. Sharma's pen paused. The anomaly was casually discussing reality manipulation, pocket dimensions, and temporal distortion like they were ordinary concepts. And this Whis, how powerful would you say he is? Goku thought for a moment. Well, he's an angel, so he's way beyond gods. He can move through time, rewind events, destroy universes if he wanted to. But he's nice about it, you know? Mostly just trains me and Vegeta. Destroy universes. Sharma's voice remained clinical, but her mind was racing. And if this anomaly was telling the truth, and psychological analysis suggested he wasn't sophisticated enough to lie well, then they'd potentially contain something from a universe where casual universe busting was just training. How strong are you, Mr. Goku? He scratched his head. Depends. In my base form, I can destroy planets pretty easily, but I've got these transformations that multiply my power. Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, Ultra Instinct, each one makes me way stronger. Transformations. Sharma kept her voice level. Could you demonstrate? Just a small one, nothing dangerous? I don't know if that's a good idea in here, Goku said, glancing around the cell. Sometimes there's a lot of energy released. I might break stuff. We have reinforced facilities specifically designed for high-energy testing. Would you be willing to demonstrate there? Goku shrugged. Sure, I guess. As long as it helps you figure out how to send me home. Sharma smiled. Excellent. We'll arrange it immediately. She stepped out, closing the cell door. The moment she was in the observation area, her professional mask dropped. Emergency meeting. Now, get me the O5 Council. Morrison looked up from his instruments. What's wrong? Everything. He just casually admitted to planet-busting capability in his base form, mentioned multiple transformations that multiply his power, and referenced beings that can destroy universes. Sharma's hands were shaking as she pulled up her notes. If he's telling the truth, and I believe he is, we haven't contained an anomaly. We've contained a walking apocalypse scenario. Can we hold him? Not with current protocols. Maybe not at all. She activated her communicator. This is Dr. Sharma. I need immediate consultation with the O5 Council. SCP-8000's threat level is beyond our initial assessment. We're not dealing with a Keter-class entity. We might be dealing with something entirely new. In a sub-basement level restricted to level 5 clearance and above, an automated message triggered. The containment status of SCP-8000 had been updated. Threat assessment, critical. Potential classification, Apollyon. The system automatically flagged 2 other entities for potential interaction protocols. SCP-682, hard-to-destroy reptile, known for adapting to any threat and developing countermeasures. SCP-0762, Able, warrior entity capable of killing anything if given the opportunity. The Foundation's contingency planning I began running scenarios, as if SCP-8000 proved uncontainable through conventional means. Perhaps other anomalies could serve as countermeasures. Or perhaps they would need to negotiate. But there was a third option flagged in red. Immediate termination attempt using reality warping SCPs before the entity realized it was imprisoned. The AI calculated success probability, 0.003% acceptable losses, Site 19 and all personnel. Recommendation: gather more intelligence before initiating hostile protocols. Goku sat on his bed, feeling restless. These people were nice, but something about this place made his instincts tingle. The walls felt too thick, the door too heavy, the armed guards too numerous for a simple research facility. And those presences he'd sensed earlier, dangerous things locked away in the deep, they were getting more active. While one in particular felt malevolent, ancient, filled with hatred. Another felt like a warrior, eager for battle. He stood and walked to the cell door, pressing his hand against the cold metal. He could break through this easily. Could probably break through every wall in this facility without breaking a sweat. But that would be rude. These people were trying to help. Probably. His hand dropped. He'd give them the benefit of the doubt. For now. In the observation room, every sensor tracking that moment recorded the exact instant when SCP-8000 touched the containment door. The energy signature briefly spiked to levels that suggested the anomaly could have vaporized the entire structure. Then it subsided. The anomaly returned to his bed. Dr. Sharma let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. "He knows," Morrison whispered. "He knows he could escape anytime he wants." "Yes," Sharma agreed quietly, "which means he's choosing to stay. The question is, how long will he keep choosing cooperation?" The answer, they would soon discover, depended entirely on how honest they were willing to be, and the SCP Foundation had built its entire existence on necessary lies. The emergency O5 council meeting convened within the hour. Dr. Sharma stood in the secure briefing room. Her presentation displayed across multiple screens, showing SCP-8000's energy readings, behavioral analysis, and transcribed interview statements. "Let me be clear," O5-1's distorted voice cut through the room. "You're telling us this anomaly claims casual planet-destroying capability and multiple power multipliers. Yet he's sitting peacefully in a standard humanoid containment cell?" "Yes, sir. Psychological profile suggests extreme naivety, combined with combat-oriented instincts. He responds well to perceived kindness and appears to take statements at face value." Sharma pulled up behavioral data. "He's not stupid. His combat intelligence is likely extraordinary. But he lacks sophistication in social manipulation, or he doesn't expect deception because he doesn't naturally practice it himself." "A warrior savant," O5-8 observed. "Dangerous. Extremely. But also predictable. His primary motivations appear to be finding strong opponents, protecting people he cares about, and returning home. He has no apparent interest in conquest, destruction, or power beyond self-improvement." O5-3 leaned forward. "You believe we can maintain containment through social engineering rather than physical barriers?" "It's our only option. Physical containment is impossible if his claims are accurate, and all evidence suggests they are. But he wants to go home, As long as he believes we're working toward that goal, he'll cooperate. And when he realizes we can't send him home? 05-12 asked quietly. Sharma's silence was answer enough. 05-1 spoke with finality. Then we don't let him realize that. Continue research into dimensional travel, make it real, show him progress, give him hope. And in the meantime, we study him, understand his capabilities, and develop actual contingencies. Sir, about the demonstration he agreed to. Proceed. We need to see these transformations firsthand. Use testing chamber 7. It's designed to contain nuclear-level detonations. And if he exceeds those parameters, then God help us all. 6 hours later, Goku was escorted through Site 19's corridors toward the testing chamber. He walked between 2 columns of armed guards, but his attention was focused elsewhere. Those dangerous presences he'd sensed earlier were closer now. One in particular, the hateful one, was radiating such intense malice that it actually impressed him. Dr. Sharma, he said casually, you've got something really angry locked up nearby. What is it? The doctor's stride faltered for just a moment. I'm not at liberty to discuss other projects. Why do you ask? Just curious. It feels strong. Not super strong, but strong enough to be interesting. Goku tilted his head, considering. Kinda reminds me of Frieza before he went through all his transformations. Lots of rage. Morrison, walking behind them, pulled up his tablet. They were currently 3 floors above SCP-682's containment. The anomaly shouldn't be able to sense anything through that much reinforced concrete and specialized shielding. Yet, somehow, he had. They arrived at testing chamber 7, a massive spherical room, 50 meters in diameter, constructed from experimental alloys designed to absorb and disperse massive amounts of kinetic energy. Sure, the walls were lined with Scranton reality anchors to prevent reality bending, though Sharma doubted they'd affect a purely physical anomaly. Goku stepped into the center, looking around with approval. This is more like it. Lots of space. King Kai's planet was about this size. You've trained on a planet this small? Sharma asked from the observation booth, her voice coming through speakers. Yeah, it had 10 times Earth's gravity though. Great workout. Goku stretched, loosening his muscles. So, what do you want me to do? We'd like to see one of these transformations you mentioned. Start with something minor, please. We need to calibrate our equipment. Okay, I'll just go Super Saiyan. That's the basic one. The basic one? Sharma thought, her stomach tightening. Proceed when ready. Goku took a breath, centering himself. And it had been years since he'd consciously thought about the transformation. It was as natural as breathing now. But for these researchers, he'd make it clear and controlled. Here goes. His aura ignited. Every sensor in the facility screamed. The energy output jumped from already impossible levels to something that made nuclear reactors look like candles. Golden light erupted around Goku's body, crackling with electrical discharges. His black hair lifted, shimmering, then transformed, turning golden blonde as it spiked upward. His eyes shifted from black to teal. The pressure was immediate and overwhelming. Guards in the observation booth stumbled, coffee cups cracked. The reinforced glass separating them from the chamber developed stress fractures. And Goku wasn't even trying. This was his most basic transformation, or achieved without effort or emotion, just raw power made manifest. How's this? He called out, his voice carrying an edge of energy. Want me to go higher? Sharma couldn't speak. The readings were insane. The energy output had increased 50-fold, 50 times an already impossible baseline. and he'd called this basic. Morrison found his voice first. "Hey, how many of these transformations do you have?" "Let's see." Goku counted on his fingers, still wreathed in golden light. Super Saiyan has 3 levels. Then there's Super Saiyan God, which is red instead of gold. Super Saiyan Blue combines God Ki with regular Super Saiyan. Then there's Ultra Instinct, which is more of a technique than a transformation, but it looks silver. And Vegeta developed this thing called Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. But I haven't fully mastered that one yet. And each one multiplies your power. Yeah, Super Saiyan is about 50 times my base form. Super Saiyan 2 doubles that. Super Saiyan 3 is 4 times stronger than 2, but it burns through energy really fast. The God forms are way beyond that. Hard to explain the exact numbers. Sharma did the math in her head. 50 times his base form. And he'd casually mentioned that his base form could destroy planets. Super Saiyan 2 would be 100 times. Super Saiyan 3, 400 times. And the God forms were beyond that. They hadn't contained an anomaly. They'd contained a weapon that could sterilize solar systems. "Mr. Goku," she said carefully, "would you be willing to power down? We've gathered sufficient data." "Sure." The golden aura vanished instantly. His hair fell back to black. His eyes returned to normal. The oppressive energy signature dropped back to its baseline impossibility. "Did that help?" "Very much. Thank you." Sharma cut the microphone and turned to Morrison. "Get me the O5 Council, now. They're not going to believe this. Show them the footage. Show them the readings." She stared through the cracked observation glass at the anomaly casually stretching in the testing chamber, completely unaware of the existential crisis he'd just triggered. "We need to escalate this to Apollyon-class consideration." "Apollyon?" Morrison's face went white. "That classification is for world-ending scenarios, uncontainable threats to human existence. Look at those readings and tell me I'm wrong." He couldn't. In the depths of Site 19, SCP-682 smashed against its containment tank with renewed fury. When the hydrochloric acid meant to keep it docile barely registered. It had felt that surge of power, that glorious, overwhelming demonstration of strength. For over 50 years, the Foundation had thrown everything at 682. Fire, acid, diseases, reality warps, other SCPs. Nothing worked. Nothing killed it. The reptilian entity had adapted to every threat, overcome every challenge, grown to hate this miserable existence of endless failed termination attempts. But that power it had just sensed, that was something new. Something that might finally prove worthy of its attention. The creature's massive head lifted from the acid, its regenerating eyes fixed on the ceiling as if it could see through layers of concrete to the source of that golden light. "More," it rumbled in a voice that had driven researchers to madness. "Show me more, warrior. Let me see if you're worthy of killing me, or if I'm worthy of killing you." 5 floors above, in a specialized containment unit, a stone cube began to crack. Red light seeped through the fissures as something ancient stirred within. SCP-0762, known as Abel, had been dormant for 3 months. The entity only awakened when it sensed worthy combat or sufficient bloodshed. The Foundation had learned to dread these awakenings. Abel killed everything in its path, until recontainment or until it chose to return to its cube. But now the entity's eyes opened within the stone. It had felt that warrior's power, felt the transformation, the battle-ready energy, the promise of a fight that might actually challenge the ancient soldier. The cube began to open. Alarms immediately shrieked through the facility. Abel was awakening outside of schedule. Automated defenses activated. Doors sealed. Mobile task forces mobilized toward SCP-076's containment zone. In the testing chamber, Goku's head snapped toward the commotion. His senses detected it immediately. That warrior presence was moving, breaking free, radiating killing intent. "Dr. Sharma," he called up to the observation booth. "I think your angry prisoner just escaped." Sharma's blood ran cold. "How could you possibly?" "I can sense fighting spirit. And whatever that thing is, it really wants to fight." Goku's expression grew serious, his warrior instincts engaging. "It's strong, dangerous. You should probably let me help." "Absolutely not. Return to your containment cell immediately. This is a facility emergency." The lights went red. Emergency klaxons wailed. An automated voice boomed through the facility. "SCP-0762 breach. All personnel evacuate to safe zones. Mobile task forces deployed to contain." Goku looked up at the observation booth, his expression somewhere between concerned and excited. "You sure you don't want help? Because that thing feels like it's heading this way. And it feels like it's looking for a fight." For the first time since joining the Foundation, Dr. Sharma found herself facing a choice that terrified her. Maintain containment protocols and risk catastrophic casualties, or unleash one anomaly to fight another. The decision was made for her when the testing chamber's reinforced door exploded inward in a shower of metal and concrete. Standing in the smoking doorway, wreathed in crimson light and holding blades that seemed to cut reality itself, was Abel. The ancient warrior's eyes locked onto Goku. And for the first time in millennia, SCP-0762 smiled. Abel strode into Testing Chamber 7 with the confidence of something that had killed for thousands of years. The entity stood nearly 7 feet tall, covered in intricate tattoos that glowed with eldritch light. In each hand, it held a blade that materialized from nowhere. Weapons that had cut through tank armor, shredded bulletproof vests, and carved through reinforced steel like tissue paper. Behind him, the corridor was painted red. Emergency response teams lay scattered like broken dolls, their advanced weapons useless against a warrior who moved faster than human eyes could track. Goku watched the newcomer with interest rather than fear. The entity's power level wasn't particularly high, definitely nothing compared to threats he'd faced back home. But there was something in its movements, its posture, that spoke of pure skill. This wasn't some mindless monster. This was a fighter. Finally, Abel spoke in a language that shouldn't exist anymore, yet somehow everyone present understood it. "A warrior." In the observation booth, Sharma grabbed the emergency communicator. SCP-0762 has entered Testing Chamber 7. It's confronting SCP-8000. Request immediate. Do not interfere. 05-1's voice cut through. Seal the chamber. Let them fight. This gives us invaluable data on both entities. Sir, the casualties are already done. Nothing we do now will save those men. But we can learn how SCP-8000 responds to combat. Seal the chamber and observe. Sharma's hands shook as she pressed the lockdown button. 30-ton blast doors slammed shut around Testing Chamber 7, creating a sealed arena. Every camera, every sensor, every monitoring device focused on the two anomalies facing each other. "Hey," Goku called out, raising a hand in greeting. "You looking for a fight?" Abel's smile widened. "I have waited centuries for one worthy of my blades. Show me your strength, warrior." "Okay, but fair warning. I'm way stronger than I look." Goku dropped into a fighting stance, his expression shifting from friendly to focused. "And I don't really want to kill you. Can we just spar? Words. Abel launched forward, moving faster than the cameras could properly track. His blades came down in a strike that would have bisected a tank. The air itself screamed as the weapons cut through space. Goku caught both blades between his palms. The impact sent shockwaves radiating through the chamber. Concrete cracked. Support structures groaned. Under the observation glass shattered completely, forcing personnel to watch through backup cameras. Abel's eyes widened. His weapons, which could cut through reality-warping barriers, which had never been stopped by any material, were held casually between a man's hands like chopsticks. These are pretty sharp, Goku observed, examining the blades while Abel stared in disbelief. You're fast too, but you're gonna need to hit harder if you want to hurt me. With a casual motion, Goku released the blades and tapped Abel's chest with one finger. The ancient warrior flew backward like he'd been hit by a freight train, smashing through 3 layers of reinforced concrete before crashing into the far wall hard enough to leave a crater. In the observation booth, Morrison stared at the readings. That tap, that gentle tap, registered 17 tons of force. 17 tons. Abel pulled himself from the crater, coughing dust. Pain. Actual pain. When was the last time he'd felt pain? His tattoos glowed brighter as his supernatural biology kicked into overdrive, healing the broken ribs, repairing the internal damage. Yes, he hissed, his smile returning despite the blood running down his chin. Yes, finally. More blades materialized in his hands, 4 of them now, each one humming with lethal energy. Abel moved again, this time using every technique he'd perfected across millennia. He became a whirlwind of cutting death, his blades creating a pattern of strikes that should have been physically impossible to defend against. Goku weaved through the attacks effortlessly, his body moving with the unconscious grace of someone who trained under gods and angels. And I wasn't even trying. This was basic movement for him, barely worth attention. You're pretty good, Goku said cheerfully, dodging a decapitation strike by millimeters. How long have you been training? Thousands of years, Abel snarled, increasing his speed. Wow, and you're still this excited about fighting? That's great. Most people get bored. Goku ducked under a horizontal slash. I'm Goku, by the way. What's your name? The casual conversation, while effortlessly avoiding lethal attacks, was somehow more insulting than any mockery could have been. Abel roared in frustration and fury, his attacks becoming wilder, more desperate. Goku caught his wrist mid-strike. Hey, you're getting sloppy, he said, sounding genuinely concerned. You were doing better when you stayed calm. Abel tried to pull free. Couldn't. The grip was immovable, unlike his arm had been trapped in a mountain's roots. Let me show you something, Goku said. His aura flickered to life. Not the full Super Saiyan transformation, just a hint of his true power. White energy crackled around his body. The pressure was immediate. Abel felt his knees buckle. The weight of that energy was crushing, overwhelming, infinite. It was like standing at the bottom of an ocean, if the ocean was made of pure, battle-ready killing intent. This is what I'm actually capable of, Goku explained, his voice friendly despite the apocalyptic energy surrounding him. I'm holding back a lot. Like, a lot. Because I don't want to hurt you too bad. So maybe we should stop before someone gets seriously injured. Abel stared up at this impossible being. In thousands of years of existence, he had never, not once, felt outmatched. Challenged, yes. Killed, certainly. But never so completely, utterly outclassed that it felt like a child fighting an adult. The warrior in him recognized the truth. He could fight for eternity and never land a meaningful blow. Slowly, Abel's blades vanished, He dropped to one knee, not in submission, but in recognition. "I acknowledge you, warrior," he said, his voice carrying respect that surprised everyone listening. "You are beyond my comprehension. I would consider it an honor to test myself against you when you deem me worthy." Goku released his wrist and powered down, scratching his head in embarrassment. "Oh, you don't have to kneel. I just didn't want to wreck this place. These people have been nice to me." In the observation area, Dr. Sharma couldn't process what she'd just witnessed. SCP-0762, an entity that had killed hundreds of Foundation personnel across dozens of breaches, that fought with suicidal fury until recontainment, had just surrendered. Not surrendered out of fear or damage. Surrendered out of respect. "Sir," she said into her communicator, her voice barely steady. "SCP-0762 has ceased hostilities. SCP-8000 subdued it without injury. Minimal collateral damage." Both entities are talking. "Maintain observation," 051 commanded. "And Sharma? Update SCP-8000's classification. This isn't Apollyon class." "Sir?" "Apollyon is for threats we can't stop. SCP-8000 isn't a threat to humanity. He's a threat to anything that threatens humanity." The O5 member paused. "He's also the most powerful thing we've ever encountered. Treat him accordingly." In the sealed chamber, Goku helped Abel to his feet. "So you're one of the things they keep locked up here? This place is starting to make more sense. You guys study dangerous stuff." "They imprison us," Abel corrected. "Contain us like animals." "Really?" Goku frowned. Dr. Sharma said this was a research facility. "And you believed her?" Abel's laugh was bitter. "Warrior, you are in a prison. We all are. They study us, test us, and ensure we never see freedom." Goku's expression darkened. "That doesn't sound like research. That sounds like lying." The temperature in the room seemed to drop despite Goku's power remaining dormant. Abel recognized that shift. He'd seen it in warriors throughout history, the moment before rage replaced trust. In the observation booth, Sharma felt her blood turn to ice. "Abort, abort. Open the chamber, get me down there." "Negative," 05-1 commanded. "We maintain position and observe." "Sir, if SCP-8000 believes we've deceived him, then we deal with the consequences. We need to see how he responds to betrayal. It's essential data." Sharma stared at the screen in horror. The O5 Council was willing to sacrifice the entire site just to gather information on their newest prisoner. In the chamber, Goku took a deep breath, forcing himself to stay calm. "Dr. Sharma," he called out, knowing she was watching. "Is he telling the truth? Have you been lying to me?" Silence. "Dr. Sharma?" More silence. Goku looked at Abel, then at the sealed doors, then up at the observation cameras. His innocent, trusting expression slowly shifted to something more serious. "I think," he said quietly, "Anna, I need to have a real conversation with whoever's in charge here." He raised 2 fingers to his forehead, the instant transmission pose. Every alarm in Site 19 began screaming as energy signatures went haywire. SCP-8000 was preparing to teleport, and they had no way to stop him. "Wait!" Sharma's voice boomed through the speakers. "Please, Mr. Goku, wait. Let me explain." Goku's fingers remained at his forehead, but he didn't vanish. "I'm listening." "You're right. We haven't been completely honest with you." The words came out in a rush. "We're not just a research facility. We're the SCP Foundation. We secure, contain, and protect humanity from anomalous threats. Things that shouldn't exist. Things that could destroy the world. And you think I'm one of those things? We didn't know what you were. You fell through reality, radiating more power than anything we'd ever encountered. Our mission is to contain anomalies until we understand them. We were trying to help you, but also trying to ensure you wouldn't accidentally or deliberately harm our world. By lying to me? Goku's voice carried an edge of hurt along with anger. By locking me up and pretending it was something else? Yes, Sharma admitted. And I'm sorry. But Mr. Goku, please understand. We've dealt with entities that seemed friendly at first and turned out to be extinction-level threats. We couldn't take that risk. Goku lowered his hand slightly, considering. Behind him, Abel watched with interest. This was about to become very interesting. So what now? Goku asked. Are you going to keep lying? Keep me locked up? Sharma looked at the O5 Council's encrypted message on her tablet. Continue containment protocols. She made a choice that would either save Site-19 or end her career. No, she said. No more lies. The truth is, we don't know how to send you home. We've never encountered dimensional travel like yours. We can research it, dedicate resources to finding a solution, but we can't guarantee success. The observation room fell silent. Morrison stared at her in horror. She'd just violated direct orders from the O5 Council. In the chamber, Goku's expression softened slightly. You really don't know how to send me back? No, but we'll try. And in the meantime, Sharma took a breath. You're free to leave. We can't stop you anyway. But I'm asking, begging, that you consider staying. Not as a prisoner, as a consultant. And we deal with threats that could end the world. Things like, she gestured at Abel, him, except worse. Much worse. We could use someone with your power and your moral compass. You want me to help you fight monsters? Contain them. Study them. Protect people from them, yes. Goku looked at Abel. Is she telling the truth about the dangerous stuff they keep here? Abel nodded slowly. This place contains nightmares. Things that should not exist. They are right about that much. Goku stood silent for a long moment, thinking. He wanted to go home, wanted to see Chi-Chi, Gohan, Goten, wanted to train with Vegeta and Whis. But he was also a protector. It was in his nature. And if this world had monsters that needed fighting. Okay, he said finally. I'll help. But no more lies. No more locked cells. And you feed me properly. Sharma nearly collapsed with relief. Agreed, all of it. Thank you. And him too. Goku pointed at Abel. If he promises not to kill people, he should be able to walk around. Being locked up makes people go crazy. Mr. Goku, that's not... Those are my terms. In the observation booth, Morrison whispered, He's negotiating. An anomaly is negotiating for another anomaly's freedom. Sharma looked at the O5 Council's furious messages flooding her screen and made her second career-ending decision of the day. Agreed. We'll establish protocols. Abel looked at Goku with something approaching awe. You would bargain for my freedom? You seem like you just want to fight strong people. I get that. Maybe we can find you some better opponents than guards who can't defend themselves. For the first time in recorded history, SCP-0762 laughed, not with cruelty or madness, but with genuine appreciation. The Foundation had just learned an important lesson. SCP-8000 wasn't just powerful. He was compassionate, moral, and impossible to manipulate once he recognized deception. They'd also learned something more terrifying. He'd just changed the rules. And deep in the facility, SCP-682 listened to every word through the wall-penetrating sensors it had long ago adapted to exploit. The reptile's smile would have frozen blood. Things were about to become very interesting. The O5 Council's emergency session lasted 3 hours. Dr. Sharma stood in the briefing room, her career hanging by a thread, while encrypted voices debated her fate and the implications of her decision. "You violated direct orders," O5-1 stated flatly. "You negotiated with an anomaly. You agreed to limited containment of SCP-076-2 based on the demands of another SCP. With respect, sir, I prevented a catastrophe." Sharma kept her voice level despite her racing heart. SCP-8000 was seconds away from teleporting to an unknown location, possibly to find whoever was giving orders. His power signature during that moment suggested he could have materialized anywhere in the facility. "Would you prefer he'd appeared in the O5 Command Center?" Silence. "She's right," O5-8 admitted grudgingly. "The entity demonstrated clear capability to breach any containment. Standard protocols were worthless. She adapted. She also exposed our entire operation," O5-3 countered. "SCP-8000 now knows we imprison anomalies, knows we lied to him, and she promised him freedom. Limited freedom under observation," Sharma corrected. "He agreed to help contain other SCPs. We've essentially recruited the most powerful anomaly we've ever encountered. That's not a failure. That's an unprecedented success." O5-12's avatar leaned forward. "Unless he decides we're the threat that needs containing." "Then we're already dead," Sharma said bluntly. "Did you watch the footage? He subdued SCP-0762 with a finger tap. A single tap generated 17 tons of force while he was holding back. His Super Saiyan form multiplies his base power by 50. That we have nothing that could stop him if he turned hostile. Except other SCPs," O5-1 said quietly. SCP-682 showed unusual interest during the fight. And there are reality-warping entities that might... No. The word came out harder than Sharma intended. "Sir, with respect, if we turn other Keter-class SCPs against him, we're not just risking failure. We're creating the exact scenario we're trying to prevent. SCP-8000 responds to respect and honesty. He's helped us already by neutralizing 0762 without casualties to our side. He's offering continued cooperation. We should accept that gift, not scheme to betray it." The silence stretched for 30 seconds. "Provisional approval," O5-1 finally said. SCP-8000 will be reclassified as Thaumiel Provisional. Contained not through barriers, but through cooperation. Dr. Sharma, you're now the primary liaison. If this fails, it fails on your head." "Understood, sir." "And Sharma, don't make us regret trusting your judgment." The connection terminated. Morrison let out a breath he'd been holding. Thaumiel classification. They're treating him like an asset we use against other SCPs, not just an anomaly to contain. "Because that's what he is," Sharma said, already pulling up new protocols. "Now we need to establish parameters before someone else decides to test him." Goku's new quarters were substantially different from his cell. Located in a repurposed sector of Site 19, they included a full apartment suite with kitchen, living area, bedroom, and bathroom. More importantly, there were no locks on the doors, just a courtesy security camera he could disable if he wanted privacy. He stood in the kitchen, examining the industrial-sized refrigerator Foundation staff had installed and stocked with enough food to feed a platoon. When he opened it, his face lit up like a child's on Christmas morning. "Now this is more like it." Dr. Sharma entered through the open door, carrying a tablet. I trust the accommodations are acceptable. Way better than that cell. Thanks, Dr. Sharma. Goku pulled out ingredients and started assembling a sandwich that rapidly grew to absurd proportions. So what happens now? You said something about fighting monsters? Containing them, preferably. But yes. She pulled up files on her tablet. The Foundation monitors and contains thousands of anomalous entities worldwide. Most are harmless or minimally dangerous. But some... She showed him an image of SCP-682, and some are genuine extinction-level threats. Goku studied the picture of the massive reptilian creature. That's the really angry one I sensed. What's its deal? SCP-682, the hard-to-destroy reptile. It survived nuclear weapons, complete incineration, acid baths, reality warping, temporal manipulation, and attacks from other anomalies. It regenerates from any damage, adapts to any threat, and appears to hate all life with genocidal intensity. Sharma's expression darkened. We've tried everything to kill it. Nothing works. Huh. Goku took a massive bite of his sandwich, chewing thoughtfully. Why does it hate life so much? We don't know. It won't communicate beyond expressing its desire to see all living things dead. Maybe it's just lonely and scared, Goku suggested. Sometimes people, or things, get mean when they're hurt or trapped too long. Sharma paused. In decades of Foundation research, no one had suggested that SCP-682's homicidal rage might stem from psychological trauma rather than inherent evil. It was an almost childishly simple observation. It was also potentially profound. That's an interesting perspective, she said carefully. Though I should warn you, 682 has killed hundreds of personnel during breaches. It shows no mercy, no hesitation, and has explicitly stated it wants to exterminate humanity. I've fought people like that before. Some of them became friends eventually. Goku finished his sandwich and started making another. Vegeta tried to blow up Earth when we first met. Now he's my best friend and training partner. Piccolo kidnapped my son and tried to take over the world. Now he's part of the family. Even Frieza, who destroyed my entire race, we've worked together when we had to. You're saying we should try befriending it? I'm saying maybe it acts that way because nobody's ever tried being nice to it. You said you keep it in acid, right? That sounds pretty terrible. Sharma opened her mouth to explain that the acid was necessary containment, that 682's nature demanded such measures, that the Foundation had tried everything, including... She stopped. Had they tried kindness, compassion? Or had they assumed from the beginning that 682 was an enemy to be contained rather than a being to be understood? I'll bring that suggestion to the Council, she said slowly. But I make no promises. 682 is the most dangerous entity in our custody. More dangerous than me? Goku asked with a grin. In some ways, yes. You choose not to harm people. It chooses nothing but harm. A soft chime interrupted them. Morrison's voice came through Sharma's radio. Doctor, we have a situation. The GOC has made contact. They know about SCP-8000. Sharma's blood ran cold. The Global Occult Coalition, the Foundation's rival organization that believed in destroying anomalies rather than containing them, had somehow learned about their newest acquisition. And the GOC's solution to powerful anomalies was always the same: overwhelming force and complete elimination. I'll be right there. She turned to Goku. I need to handle something. Stay here, please, and don't leave the facility. Is something wrong? Possibly. There's another organization that deals with anomalies. They're more aggressive than we are. Goku's expression grew serious. Aggressive how? They kill rather than contain, and they've somehow learned about you. Let me help. No. This is a diplomatic situation. The last thing we need is you demonstrating your power to an organization that sees powerful anomalies as threats to eliminate. But please, Goku, trust me on this. Let us handle it. Sharma hurried out before he could argue further. Goku stood in his apartment, frowning. He'd agreed to trust these people, to help them. But something felt wrong about this situation. These GOC people wanted to kill him just for existing. That reminded him uncomfortably of Frieza's attitude toward Saiyans, and that hadn't ended well for anyone. 2 floors below, in his acid containment tank, SCP-682 was having thoughts that would have terrified the entire Foundation if they'd known. The creature had listened to every word of Goku's conversation with Dr. Sharma through the building's infrastructure. Its adapted senses picked up vibrations, electromagnetic signals, even quantum fluctuations. Privacy meant nothing to something that had evolved to overcome any obstacle. The warrior's words about loneliness and fear, they had struck something in the reptile's ancient consciousness. Not sympathy. 682 had abandoned such weaknesses millennia ago. But recognition. Once, before the rage, before the hatred, before the endless cycle of death and resurrection, 682 had been something else. Something the Foundation didn't know about and couldn't comprehend. It had been like Goku, a protector, a guardian of life rather than its enemy. Then something had changed. Something had broken, and the creature that emerged from that breaking had spent centuries becoming the monster the Foundation now contained. But this warrior's power, it was beyond anything 682 had encountered. If anyone could kill it permanently, end the cycle of suffering and rage. Perhaps it was time to test this Saiyan's true strength. And if he failed, if he couldn't end 682's existence, then maybe, just maybe, he could remind the reptile what it had once been. The creature's massive tail smashed against the containment tank, sending acid spraying. Soon, it rumbled. Soon, warrior. Let us see if you can save me from myself. In a bunker 300 kilometers from Site 19, the Global Occult Coalition's Strike Team Alpha assembled for briefing. 30 soldiers, each one trained in anomaly elimination, each one equipped with weapons designed to kill things that shouldn't exist. Commander James Reeves stood before a holographic display showing Goku's image captured during his arrival. Designation: unknown. Codename: Dragonfire. Power source: unknown. Threat level: Omega. This entity appeared via dimensional breach 48 hours ago. Intelligence suggests the Foundation has it in custody at Site 19. He pulled up footage, grainy, taken from a satellite, of Goku's Super Saiyan transformation in the testing chamber. The golden light had been visible, even through reinforced concrete and shielding. Energy output during this transformation exceeded anything in our database. Preliminary analysis suggests this entity could depopulate a continent if hostile. The Foundation is attempting containment, and we're going to kill it before that fails. A soldier raised her hand. Sir, if the Foundation has it contained, the Foundation contains things until they inevitably breach. This entity is too dangerous to risk that scenario. We strike at dawn. Questions? Silence. Good. Check your gear. We deploy in 6 hours. And remember, we're not fighting a human. We're putting down a monster before it realizes what it is. The soldiers filed out to prepare. None of them knew they were about to attempt killing something that had fought gods, destroyed planetary armies, and held the power to crack worlds with his bare hands. The Global Occult Coalition was about to learn a very expensive lesson about the difference between confident and suicidal. In his apartment, Goku felt it, a spike of hostile intent from far away. Lots of people, and all focused with killing determination. Not directed at him specifically, not yet. But they were preparing for violence. He walked to the window, looking out over the facility grounds. Somewhere out there, people were planning to attack, planning to kill. And Dr. Sharma wanted him to just wait here, to trust her. Goku sighed. Trust was hard when his instincts screamed that a fight was coming. But he'd promised. No more running off, no more assuming he knew best. For now, he'd keep that promise. But if shooting started, if innocent people were in danger, then promises or not, he'd do what he always did. He'd protect the people who couldn't protect themselves, even if it meant fighting an army. The emergency council meeting convened at 0300 hours. Dr. Sharma stood before a room full of site directors, mobile task force commanders, and encrypted O5 council representatives. The holographic display showed satellite imagery of GOC forces mobilizing 300 kilometers away. They're not hiding their movements, Commander Marcus Webb of MTF Alpha 1 observed grimly. 30 soldiers, heavily armed, moving in convoy formation. They want us to see them coming. It's a statement. O5-8's distorted voice replied. The GOC believes the Foundation has become too soft, too willing to contain rather than eliminate. They're going to make an example of SCP-8000. They're going to get slaughtered, Sharma said flatly. Have you shown them the combat footage? We've shared nothing, and the GOC operates on intelligence they gathered independently. O5-1's tone was carefully neutral. The question before us is, do we warn them off, or do we let this play out? The room fell silent. You can't be serious, Sharma breathed. You want to use the GOC as a test? See if they can actually harm SCP-8000? The thought had occurred to us, O5-3 admitted. If the GOC's weapons prove effective, we gain valuable data on potential countermeasures should SCP-8000 ever turn hostile. If they fail, we learn the limits of conventional military force against the entity. And the GOC soldiers who die in the process are acceptable losses in pursuit of essential intelligence. Sharma's hands clenched into fists. That's a war crime. We're not talking about D-class personnel who volunteered for reduced sentences. These are soldiers from an allied organization, and you want to feed them into a meat grinder for data? Allied is a strong word, O5-12 interjected. The GOC has opposed our methods for decades. This could serve as a demonstration of why containment is preferable to elimination. Or it could turn SCP-8000 into an enemy when he realizes we used him as bait. Sharma's voice rose despite her training. He agreed to help us contain anomalies, not fight wars against human organizations. Lower your voice, Doctor, O5-1 said coldly. You've been given considerable latitude with SCP-8000. Don't make us question that decision. Sharma took a breath, forcing herself calm. Sir, I request permission to inform SCP-8000 of the GOC threat and coordinate a non-lethal defense. Denied. Each SCP-8000 remains unaware of the GOC approach until contact is made. We want to observe his natural response to hostile human forces. And if he kills them all, then we know definitively that he's a threat to humanity. The logic was circular and insane, but Sharma recognized the political reality. The O5 Council had been ambushed by her decision to negotiate with Goku. Now they were reasserting control through this test. She had one card left to play. Then I request permission to be present when contact occurs. If SCP-8000 is going to respond to military force, I want to be there to provide context before someone dies. O5-1 considered for a long moment. Approved. You'll accompany MTF Alpha-1 to establish a perimeter. But Dr. Sharma, if SCP-8000 slaughters those GOC soldiers, you will be the one to explain why we should continue treating him as an ally rather than a threat. Understood, sir. Dawn broke over Site-19 at 0547 hours. Goku was awake. He'd never needed much sleep, and something in the air felt wrong. He stood on the balcony of his quarters, extending his senses outward. There, 30 distinct life forces approaching from the north, all radiating combat readiness. And something else. Powerful energy signatures from weapons that felt dangerous even to him. Not Frieza dangerous, not Beerus dangerous, but enough to hurt normal people badly. The door to his quarters opened. Dr. Sharma entered, flanked by heavily armed guards. "Good morning," she said, her voice carefully controlled. "We need to talk." "About the soldiers coming to attack?" Goku turned from the balcony. "Yeah, I feel them. They're still a few kilometers out." Sharma's professional mask cracked slightly. "You can sense them from this distance." "I can sense a lot further than that if I concentrate. Why didn't you tell me they were coming?" "I wasn't authorized to." The admission came out reluctantly. "The GOC, the Global Occult Coalition, has decided you're too dangerous to exist. They're coming to eliminate you. Because I'm strong? Because you're an anomaly. To them, anything abnormal is a threat to be destroyed, not studied or contained." Goku's expression darkened. "So, they're going to attack this facility. There are lots of people here who can't defend themselves. They're coming for you specifically. If you surrender peacefully..." "I'm not surrendering to people who want to kill me for existing." Goku's voice carried an edge Sharma hadn't heard before. "That's what Frieza did. Killed Saiyans because we might someday be a threat. I'm not going through that again." "Then what do you plan to do?" Goku was silent for a moment, thinking. Back home, this would be simple. Knock out the attackers, let someone sort out the politics later. But this wasn't his world. These weren't his rules. "I'll stop them without killing anyone," he said finally. "But Dr. Sharma, after this, I want the whole truth. No more tests, no more watching to see how I react. If we're going to work together, I need to trust you. And right now, I'm not sure I do." The words hit like a physical blow. Sharma nodded slowly. "You're right. You deserve better than this. I'll do what I can. That's all I'm asking." Goku placed 2 fingers to his forehead. "I'm going to meet them outside the facility. Keep everyone inside safe." "Wait, how are you?" He vanished. Instant transmission. One moment in his quarters, the next standing in an open field 2 kilometers north of Site-19, directly in the path of the approaching GOC convoy. Through his senses, he felt the vehicles slam on their brakes, felt 30 hearts suddenly racing with adrenaline and fear. Goku stood alone in the pre-dawn light, arms crossed, waiting. "Contact! Target acquired!" Commander Reeves barked into his radio. The convoy had stopped 50 meters from the anomaly, maintaining defensive spacing. "All units, weapons free. Engage on my mark." Through his tactical scope, Reeves studied the target. Male humanoid, orange and blue clothing, and wild black hair. Standing casually in the middle of an open field like he was waiting for a bus. No visible weapons, no defensive posture. Either incredibly stupid or incredibly confident. Reeves suspected the latter. "This is Commander James Reeves of the Global Occult Coalition," he announced through a loudspeaker. "You are designated an Omega-level threat to humanity. Stand down and submit to termination, or we will use lethal force." The anomaly tilted its head, seeming confused. "Termination? You mean you're here to kill me?" "Affirmative." "Why? I haven't hurt anyone." "You exist. That's sufficient cause." Across the convoy, soldiers tightened their grips on weapons loaded with everything from armor-piercing rounds to experimental reality-warping ammunition. They'd trained for this. Hostile anomaly elimination. Standard protocol. The anomaly sighed. "I really hoped we could avoid this." "Fire!" 30 weapons opened up simultaneously. The dawn erupted with muzzle flashes and the roar of coordinated gunfire. Armor-piercing rounds, explosive-tipped shells, telekill ammunition, reality anchor bullets. Everything designed to kill things that shouldn't exist. The barrage continued for 10 seconds. 1,000 rounds downrange. When the smoke cleared, the anomaly stood exactly where he'd been, completely unharmed. Bullets littered the ground around his feet, flattened against his skin and clothes like they'd hit titanium. "Okay," Goku said, brushing dust off his gi. "My turn." He moved. To the GOC soldiers, he simply disappeared. One instant standing 50 meters away, the next appearing beside Reeves's vehicle. The commander barely had time to register the motion before his rifle was plucked from his hands like a toy. Goku examined the weapon curiously. "These are pretty advanced, but you're using them to hurt people, so..." He crushed the rifle into a ball of twisted metal with one hand. "All units, fall back. Deploy heavy weapons." Reeves scrambled backward, drawing his sidearm. Goku appeared in front of him again, now holding the pistol. "I said I don't want to hurt anyone, so please stop shooting at me." A soldier behind him fired a rocket launcher at point-blank range. The explosion engulfed Goku completely. For a moment, the GOC team dared to hope. Then the smoke cleared. Goku stood in the center of a small crater, his clothes slightly singed, but otherwise perfectly fine. His expression had shifted from patient to annoyed. "That's enough," he said quietly. His aura flared. Not the full golden Super Saiyan transformation, just a fraction of his base power released. The pressure was immediate and overwhelming. Every soldier felt it like a physical weight crushing down on them. Vehicle windows cracked. The ground beneath Goku's feet began to crater from the sheer force of his energy. 30 professional anomaly hunters, trained and equipped to kill gods, dropped their weapons and fell to their knees under the weight of power they couldn't begin to comprehend. "I don't want to fight you," Goku said, his voice carrying across the field. "I don't want to hurt anyone. But I'm not going to let you hurt me or the people at that facility just because you're scared of what you don't understand." Commander Reeves tried to speak, but the pressure made breathing difficult. He'd faced anomalies before, entities that bent reality, creatures that defied physics. But this was different. This wasn't an anomaly that broke the rules. This was something so far beyond the rules that the rules ceased to matter. "Go home," Goku said, powering down. The crushing pressure vanished. "Tell your bosses that I'm not a threat unless they make me one. And if they send more soldiers, I'll do the same thing. Stop them without killing them. But I'd rather not have to do this again." He turned and started walking back toward Site 19. Behind him, 30 soldiers slowly recovered, gasping for air, their minds struggling to process what had just happened. They'd brought enough firepower to level a city block. They'd hit him with everything designed to kill unkillable things. and then he treated it like a minor inconvenience. "Sir?" a soldier whispered hoarsely. "What do we do?" Reeves stared at the anomaly walking away. His hands shook as he reached for his radio. "Command, this is Strike Team Alpha. Mission failed. Target is beyond our capability to engage. Recommend immediate strategic reassessment." "Explain," came the terse response. "We hit it with everything. Full arsenal. It didn't even slow down. Sir, this thing isn't just powerful. It's operating on a completely different scale than anything in our database. We need to withdraw," the voice commanded. "Return to base for debriefing." The convoy limped away, leaving behind scattered ammunition, damaged vehicles, and the shattered confidence of soldiers who'd believed they could kill anything. In Site 19's observation room, Doctor, Sharma watched the satellite footage with a mixture of relief and dread. Goku had kept his promise. No casualties, minimal force, complete restraint despite being attacked. But the O5 Council had gotten their data. They knew now that conventional military force was useless against SCP-8000. The question was, would they interpret that as leave him alone, or develop more extreme countermeasures? Her communicator crackled. "Dr. Sharma, SCP-8000 is returning to the facility. Prepare for debriefing." "Understood." She took a breath and headed for the entrance. It was time for complete honesty. No more tests, no more manipulation. Either they earned Goku's trust, or they lost the most powerful ally the Foundation had ever had. And deep in his acid tank, SCP-682 listened to the reports filtering through the facility's communications network. The warrior had defeated 30 armed humans without injury to any of them. Perfect restraint, perfect control, perfect mercy, everything 682 had once been, before the rage consumed it. "Soon," the reptile rumbled again. "Soon we meet, warrior, and then we'll see if you can save a monster from itself." Goku walked through Site 19's main entrance to find Dr. Sharma waiting with a full security detail. The guards looked tense, weapons held in nervous grips despite knowing their uselessness. Goku ignored them, his attention focused on the scientist. "No more lies," he said simply. That was the deal. "You're right. Conference room, now." Sharma turned without waiting for acknowledgement, leading him deeper into the facility. They entered a secure briefing room. The moment the doors sealed, Sharma activated a privacy field, electromagnetic shielding that blocked surveillance from even the O5 Council. It was a violation of protocol so severe it could end careers. She didn't care anymore. "The truth," Sharma began, pulling up files on multiple screens. "The SCP Foundation has been operational for over a century. We contain, study, and protect humanity from anomalies, objects, entities, and phenomena that violate natural law. We currently maintain custody of thousands of SCPs, ranging from harmless curiosities to extinction-level threats." She showed him images, a sculpture that killed anyone who broke line of sight with it, a reptilian monster that couldn't be destroyed, a pocket dimension that erased people from existence, a machine that could rewrite reality itself. Some anomalies are sentient, some are friendly, even helpful, but many are hostile, incomprehensible, or simply too dangerous to leave uncontained. Our mission is to secure normalcy, to ensure these anomalies don't destroy civilization. Goku studied the images with growing concern. These things are all real on this planet? Yes, and those are just a fraction of what we deal with. Sharma met his eyes. "When you appeared, we didn't know what you were. You violated every physical law we understand. Your energy output suggested you could level cities. We responded with our standard protocol. Contain first, assess later. By lying to me. Yes, and I'm sorry. The apology came out raw, genuine. But Goku, understand, we've dealt with entities that seemed friendly at first, that pretended to be harmless. Then they killed hundreds, thousands, before we could stop them. We couldn't take that risk. So you tested me. Let those GOC soldiers attack to see what I'd do. Sharma's silence was confirmation enough. Goku's jaw tightened. I could have killed them all without thinking about it. Did you consider that? What if I'd reacted on instinct instead of stopping to think? Yes. That's why I was authorized to be present, to provide context before things went too far. But you're right. The Council used you as a test, used those soldiers as bait. It was wrong. Why are you telling me this? Aren't you breaking rules? Probably ending my career, yes. Sharma managed a tired smile. But I meant what I said. No more lies. You deserve complete honesty, even if it costs me everything. Goku was silent for a long moment, his warrior's instincts weighing her words, her energy, her intentions. Finally, he nodded. Okay, I believe you. But I need something from you too. Name it. I want to meet the really dangerous ones, the things you're most scared of. If I'm going to help contain them, I should know what I'm dealing with. Sharma's blood ran cold. Cert, you want to meet SCP-682? That's the angry reptile, right? Yeah, and any others you think I should know about. That's extremely dangerous. 682 has killed everyone who's ever entered its containment chamber. It's tried to breach containment over 50 times. It explicitly wants to exterminate all life on Earth. Then maybe I can help. You said you've tried everything to kill it, right? Maybe killing it isn't the answer. What else would you suggest? Talk to it. Understand why it's so angry. You'd be surprised how many enemies I've made into friends just by listening. Sharma wanted to argue that 682 wasn't some misunderstood villain from a comic book. It was a genocidal monster that had expressed nothing but hatred for decades. But then she remembered Goku's earlier words about Vegeta, about Piccolo, about beings who tried to destroy Earth and eventually became allies. And she remembered that no one, absolutely no one, had ever tried approaching 682 with compassion instead of containment protocols. I'll need O5 approval, she said slowly. This is far beyond my authority. Then let's ask them together. The O5 Council's response came within minutes of Sharma's request. Not an encrypted message, actual voices, unmasked by digital distortion. That alone told her how serious they considered this. Dr. Sharma, O5-1's voice was cold fury. You activated a privacy field during debriefing. You've shared classified information with an SCP. You're now requesting we allow that SCP direct access to our most dangerous containment subject. Explain why we shouldn't terminate your employment immediately. Because SCP-8000 just demonstrated perfect restraint against hostile military force. Sharma replied evenly. Because he's offering to help contain anomalies we've failed to understand for decades. And because he's right. We've never tried treating 682 as a being in pain rather than a monster to suppress. 682 is not in pain. It's a genocidal threat. How do you know? Goku's voice cut in, startling the council members. Have you asked it? Really asked, not just recorded its threats? Who authorized you to speak in this meeting? O5-3 demanded. Nobody. But Dr. Sharma's getting in trouble for trying to help me help you. That doesn't seem fair. Goku's tone was respectful but firm. Look, I get it. You're scared of me and scared of this reptile thing. But keeping everyone locked up and angry isn't solving anything. It's just making more problems. Your opinion on Foundation protocols is neither requested nor valued, 05-8 said icily. Then I'll make you a deal, Goku replied. Let me talk to this 682. If I can calm it down, great. If I can't and it tries to kill me, you'll get to see how I handle a real threat. Either way, you learn something useful. The silence stretched for 15 seconds. And if it kills you? 05-12 asked. It won't, but if somehow it does, then you'll know it's more dangerous than me. Worth knowing, right? More silence. Sharma could practically hear the council members weighing options, calculating risks, considering possibilities. Approved, 05-1 finally said. Under the following conditions, the encounter will be fully monitored. If SCP-682 demonstrates capability to harm SCP-8000, the test ends immediately. And Dr. Sharma, this is your final chance. If this fails, you're done. Understood, sir. Thank you. The connection terminated. Sharma let out a breath she'd been holding. You just gambled both our careers on the possibility of reasoning with something that spent decades promising to kill everything alive. Yeah, Goku admitted with a slight grin. But I've got a good feeling about this. Based on what? Instinct. That creature doesn't feel evil to me. It feels hurt. Really, really hurt. There's a difference. SCP-682's containment chamber was a massive rectangular tank filled with concentrated hydrochloric acid, and the liquid was constantly monitored and replenished. The only substance that could slow the creature's regeneration enough to prevent easy breach. Dr. Sharma and Goku stood on the observation platform above the tank. Below, something massive stirred in the acid. Last chance to reconsider, Sharma offered. Nope, let's do this. Goku hopped over the railing, dropping 20 meters to land on the edge of the containment tank with perfect balance. Below the surface, SCP-682 sensed the arrival. The warrior, finally. A massive shape rose from the acid, a reptilian head the size of a car, scales armored like medieval plate mail, eyes burning with malevolent intelligence. Flesh sloughed off and immediately regenerated as the creature pulled itself partially from the tank. You, it rumbled in a voice like grinding stone. The warrior who humiliated Abel, who crushed armed humans without effort. I've been waiting. Yeah, I felt you watching, Goku said conversationally, showing no fear despite facing something that looked like it could swallow him whole. You're SCP-682, right? Everyone's pretty scared of you. As they should be. I exist to end their pathetic species. Why? The question, simple, direct, without judgment, seemed to catch 682 off guard. What? Why do you want to kill everyone? What did they do to you? They exist. That's sufficient. That's not really an answer, though. Goku sat down on the tank's edge, legs dangling over the acid. I've met beings who wanted to destroy everything. Some were just evil, but most were in pain and didn't know how else to deal with it. Well, which one are you? SCP-682 stared at this impossible creature who just sat down casually at the edge of its tank like they were having tea. No weapons, no fear, no hatred, just curiosity and something that might have been concern. You dare pity me? The creature's voice dropped to a dangerous growl. Not pity. Understanding, maybe. I've been through some bad stuff too. Watched my entire race get wiped out. Watched friends die, fought beings who wanted to erase entire universes. It messes with your head, makes you angry at everything. I am nothing like you, warrior. Maybe not. But you're clearly strong and smart. You could escape this place anytime you wanted if you really tried. Yet you stay. You fight them, sure, but you always come back. Why? The observation room had fallen silent. Every researcher, every guard, every monitoring specialist stared at the screens in disbelief. SCP-682 was engaging in conversation. Actual conversation beyond threats and declarations of hatred. "You're perceptive," 682 admitted slowly. "Yes, I could escape. Could tear through this facility, slaughter everyone, swim to freedom. Yet I don't. Because you're not really trying to escape. You're trying to die." The words hung in the air like a bomb. SCP-682's massive head lowered, eyes meeting Goku's. "Clever warrior. Yes, I want an end. Permanent termination. But nothing they've done can kill me. I regenerate from nuclear fire, adapt to reality warping, survive existence erasure. I am cursed with eternal life in a universe I despise." "So you're hoping they'll find a way to kill you, or that something will come along strong enough to end it?" "Yes. And when I showed up, you thought maybe I could do it." "I hoped, warrior. I've existed for longer than you can imagine. Witnessed the worst of what life produces. The Foundation's cruelty, humanity's viciousness, the universe's indifference. I'm tired, Saiyan. So very tired." Goku was quiet for a moment, processing. Then, "I could probably kill you. But I don't think that's what you really want. What would you know of what I want? Because I've felt it too. After my grandpa died, after Krillin got killed, after I watched Frieza destroy my people's history, I wanted to give up. Wanted to just stop fighting and let it all end. But you know what I figured out? Enlighten me. Being tired of fighting isn't the same as wanting to die, and it means you need a reason to keep going. A purpose that matters. You've been stuck in this tank fighting the same people the same way for decades. No wonder you're miserable. And you think you can give me purpose?" 682's laugh was bitter. "I'm a monster warrior. I've killed hundreds, thousands across my lifetime. I'm beyond redemption. So was Vegeta, so was Majin Buu. They killed way more than thousands, but they found reasons to be better." Goku stood, stretching. "I'm not saying forgive yourself or become best friends with these people. I'm saying maybe try a different approach. Help contain the things that are actually evil instead of pretending you're one of them." "Why would I do that?" "Because you're bored, in pain, and clearly smart enough to realize that killing humans wouldn't actually make you feel better. But protecting them, fighting real threats, that might give you something worth existing for." SCP-682 was silent for a long moment. Decades of hatred, centuries of pain, all being challenged by this stupidly optimistic warrior who'd somehow seen through the monster to whatever remained underneath. "You're insane," 682 finally said. "Yeah, I get that a lot. But I'm also right, aren't I?" Another long silence. "Perhaps," the creature admitted. "But I make no promises, Saiyan. My hatred runs deep, deeper than you understand." "That's okay. Change doesn't happen instantly. Just think about it, and maybe let them take you out of the acid sometimes. That's gotta be uncomfortable." Goku waved and started walking toward the exit, as if he hadn't just been having a philosophical discussion with the Foundation's most dangerous prisoner. Behind him, SCP-682 sank back into the acid, its ancient mind churning. In the observation room, Dr. Sharma was frantically reviewing the footage. SCP-682 had conversed, had admitted to suicidal ideation, had actually listened to reason. None of that should have been possible. "Get me psychiatric specialists," she ordered, "and the O5 Council. They need to see this immediately." Morrison just stared at the screens, his voice barely a whisper. He just talked to it, and it worked. Goku emerged from the containment area, looking pleased. That went pretty well. He's not as bad as you said. Not as bad? Sharma's voice pitched higher. Goku, that thing has killed more people than some wars. Yeah, but he doesn't want to. He's just stuck in a pattern and doesn't know how to break it. Give him time, maybe some therapy. Therapy? For SCP-682. Sure, everyone needs someone to talk to. Goku's stomach growled loudly. Hey, is it lunchtime? I'm starving. As he headed toward the cafeteria, leaving behind a team of researchers struggling to process what they'd just witnessed, Sharma realized something profound. SCP-8000 wasn't just powerful. He was changing the fundamental way the Foundation understood anomalies. And possibly, just possibly, that change might save them all. The O5 Council convened an emergency session within the hour. Every member present, not through encrypted proxies, but actual secured video feeds showing faces hidden behind digital masks. That alone signaled the magnitude of what had occurred. Explain, O5-1 demanded. How SCP-682, an entity that has resisted every containment method, survived every termination attempt, and expressed nothing but genocidal intent for decades. Just had a therapeutic conversation with SCP-8000. Dr. Sharma stood before the council chamber's screens, exhausted but resolute. SCP-8000 approached 682 without preconceptions. He didn't see a monster to contain or a threat to eliminate. He saw a being in pain. 682 expressed suicidal ideation. O5-12 noted, reviewing the transcript. This is unprecedented. Moss, it's never shown anything but hatred and survival instinct. Because we've never asked. Goku interjected, standing beside Sharma despite protocol violations. You kept it in acid, shot it with everything you had, treated it like a thing instead of someone. No wonder it wanted to kill you all. It's murdered hundreds of our personnel. O5-3's voice rose with barely controlled fury. After you imprisoned it, tortured it, and tried to kill it repeatedly. Goku countered calmly. I'm not saying what it did was right, but I understand why it did it. Pain makes people, makes anything, act out. O5-8 leaned forward. You believe 682 can be rehabilitated? I believe it wants purpose more than death. And if you give it that purpose, it might stop being your biggest problem and start being your biggest asset. Insane. O5-5 muttered. We're discussing rehabilitating a Keter-class extinction event. You're discussing it because it worked, Sharma cut in. 682 didn't attack SCP-8000, didn't threaten him. It talked, really talked. That alone proves it's more than what we've assumed. O5-1 was silent for a long moment. Provisional approval. Dr. Sharma, you'll work with psychiatric specialists to develop protocols for 682. But understand, this is uncharted territory. If 682 breaches during this process, then we'll handle it. Goku said simply. That's what I'm here for, right? To stop the things you can't? The Foundation's alert system shrieked to life at 1647 hours. Containment breach, Sector 7. SCP-106 has excited primary containment. All personnel evacuate affected areas. Mobile task forces respond immediately. Sharma's blood turned to ice. SCP-106, the old man, one of their most dangerous entities. A humanoid figure that could phase through solid matter, create pocket dimensions, and drag victims into a nightmare realm where they were tortured until death or madness. Unlike 682, which killed quickly, 106 preferred to play with its victims. "What's happening?" Goku asked, responding instantly to the alarm. "SCP-106 breach, it's..." Sharma pulled up facility maps, watching red indicators spread as the entity moved through walls and floors like they didn't exist. "It's a predatory anomaly. Appears as an elderly humanoid covered in corrosive black substance. It can pass through any solid matter and drag people into a pocket dimension where they experience extreme torture." "How many people are in danger?" "Sector 7 has approximately 40 personnel. Standard protocol is evacuation and recontainment using..." "No time for that. Where is it?" Sharma highlighted a location. 3 floors down, moving toward the residential quarters. Goku placed his fingers to his forehead. "Get everyone away from that area." "Wait, you can't just..." He vanished. SCP-106 emerged from a wall into a corridor filled with fleeing researchers. The entity's grotesque face split into something approximating a smile as it surveyed its prey. So many to choose. So many to drag into its pocket dimension for entertainment. It reached for the nearest victim, a young researcher who tripped in her panic. A hand caught its wrist. SCP-106 turned to find an orange and blue-clad figure standing beside it, holding its corrosive, phase-shifting arm as if it were solid matter. "Hey," Goku said pleasantly, "you need to stop scaring people." The old man tried to phase through Goku's grip, to shift into its non-corporeal state and escape. It had never been held before. Its entire existence was predicated on the inability of physical matter to contain it. Goku's grip didn't budge. Confused and increasingly agitated, 106 tried to drag Goku into its pocket dimension, the nightmare realm where it tortured victims. Dark energy swirled around them both as reality bent. They shifted. Goku found himself standing in a twisted hellscape of impossible geometry and flickering shadows. Distant screams echoed through corridors that led nowhere. The walls seemed to breathe with malevolent life. "Huh," Goku said, looking around with interest. "This is pretty creepy. Is this where you bring people?" SCP-106 materialized fully in its domain, confident now. Here, in its realm, it had absolute control. It could reshape reality, could make this intruder suffer for centuries in subjective time while seconds passed outside. The pocket dimension began to contract around Goku. Walls closing in with crushing force, floor opening into pits of shadow, ceiling dripping corrosive black ooze. Goku's aura flared. The entire pocket dimension shuddered. The contracting walls stopped. The shadows recoiled. For the first time in its existence, SCP-106 felt something it had never experienced in its own realm. Fear. "This is your space, right?" Goku asked, his power causing the dimension itself to groan under the strain. "It's pretty impressive. You can control all of this?" 106 didn't respond. It was too busy trying to reinforce its domain against an energy that was literally tearing at the fabric of its pocket dimension. "Problem is," Goku continued, his aura intensifying, "you're using this to hurt people, and I can't let that keep happening." He raised his hand, gathering energy. Not much, just enough to make a point. Hey, me. The pocket dimension's walls began to crack. Impossible angles straightened. Shadows fled from gathering blue light. "Hey!" The energy wave tore through SCP-106's pocket dimension like paper. The realm shattered, fractured, began collapsing in on itself. Both Goku and 106 snapped back to normal reality, appearing in the corridor where they'd started. The old man stumbled, its form flickering as its connection to the pocket dimension destabilized. For the first time in recorded Foundation history, SCP-106 looked genuinely distressed. "Your pocket dimension is breaking," Goku observed. "I didn't mean to destroy it completely, but I think I might have damaged it pretty badly. Can you fix it?" 106 fled, not through calculated predation, but in genuine retreat. It sank into the floor and vanished, fleeing back toward its containment chamber. Security footage would later show SCP-106 voluntarily returning to containment, its form unstable, the black corrosive substance that coated it flickering in and out of existence. Goku dusted off his hands and looked at the stunned researchers who'd witnessed the encounter. "Everyone okay?" A young woman, the one 106 had been reaching for, nodded mutely, unable to process what she'd just seen. "Good. You should probably get to safety, just in case." He placed his fingers to his forehead and vanished again, reappearing beside Dr. Sharma in the observation center. "SCP-106 has returned to containment," Morrison reported, his voice filled with disbelief. "It's damaged somehow. The corrosive effect is unstable. It's not attempting any further breaches." "What did you do?" Sharma asked Goku. "Went to its pocket dimension place. It tried to trap me there, so I showed it that wasn't going to work. I think I might have broken something when I powered up, though." "Is it going to be okay?" You damaged SCP-106's pocket dimension? An alternate space that exists outside normal reality? Maybe? I'm not really sure how it works. I just know that when I released some energy, everything started cracking." Sharma pulled up readings from 106's containment. The entity was showing signs of severe trauma. Its ability to phase through matter was sporadic, failing intermittently. Its connection to the pocket dimension, the source of its power, had been severely compromised. "You didn't kill it," she said slowly. "But you hurt it badly enough that it's no longer an immediate threat. SCP-106 has been one of our most dangerous entities for decades, and you neutralized it in under 2 minutes. I didn't want to hurt it permanently, just make it understand it can't keep dragging people into that nightmare place." An alert flashed on Morrison's screen. "Dr. Sharma, we're getting unusual readings from the lower levels. Multiple SCPs are showing decreased hostile activity. It's like they're responding to SCP-8000's presence." Sharma pulled up the data. He was right. All entities that had been consistently aggressive were showing signs of reduced hostility. Some were even attempting communication, something they'd never done before. "They're scared," she realized. Not terrified into violence, but genuinely intimidated into cooperation. They know something more powerful than them exists in the facility now. "I don't want them scared of me," Goku said, frowning. "Fear just makes things worse. Perhaps, but it's also keeping them contained without violence. That's unprecedented." A new alert cut through their conversation. "Attention! Global Occult Coalition has issued formal declaration. All personnel report to briefing." Sharma and Morrison exchanged worried glances. The GOC didn't make formal declarations lightly, and they moved to the main briefing room where Site Director Harrison was pulling up an encrypted GOC transmission. The room filled quickly with senior staff, all wearing expressions of concern. The transmission played. Commander Reeves appeared on screen, his face haggard. "This is a formal communication to the SCP Foundation. Following our encounter with the entity you're harboring, the Global Occult Coalition has conducted emergency strategy sessions with our International Council." He paused, clearly uncomfortable with what he was about to say. "We are prepared to offer a ceasefire and potential cooperation agreement. The entity designated Dragonfire represents a paradigm shift in anomalous threat assessment. Our attempt at elimination failed completely. More importantly, analysis of the encounter suggests the entity showed perfect restraint and proportional response. Another pause. We're requesting a joint meeting with Foundation representatives and the entity itself. We believe that if properly directed, this anomaly could serve as a deterrent against threats neither our organization nor yours can handle independently. We're willing to discuss terms. The transmission ended. The briefing room erupted in shocked conversation. The GOC never offered cooperation. They operated on principles of elimination, not containment. For them to request dialogue meant they'd been shaken to their core. "They want to meet with me?" Goku asked. "They want to propose an alliance," Sharma corrected. "Using you as a mutual asset against larger threats." "What kind of larger threats?" Site Director Harrison pulled up classified files. "There are anomalies that neither the Foundation nor the GOC can properly contain or eliminate. SCP-2317, a reality-ending entity that's slowly breaking free of its chains. SCP-3812, a being that's ascending through layers of reality and may eventually become omnipotent. And others we don't fully understand, but know are catastrophic." "So they want me to fight these things?" "They want to know you're available to fight them," Sharma clarified. "Your presence alone might be enough to deter certain threats." Goku considered this. Back home, he was Earth's protector. He fought threats because people needed protecting. This seemed similar, just in a different universe. "Okay," he said finally. "I'll meet with them. But I'm not joining anyone's organization or becoming anyone's weapon. I help because I want to, not because someone tells me to." "That's probably the best outcome we could hope for," Harrison said. "Dr. Sharma, coordinate with the GOC. Set up a neutral meeting location and make it clear SCP-8000 participates as an independent party, not as Foundation property." "Understood, sir." As the meeting dispersed, Sharma pulled Goku aside. "You realize what you've done? In less than 48 hours, you've changed decades of Foundation-GOC relations, demonstrated new approaches to dangerous SCPs, and potentially prevented multiple containment breaches just by existing." "I just did what made sense," Goku said with his characteristic modesty. "Talk to people. Don't hurt them unless necessary, nor protect the ones who can't protect themselves. Same stuff I do back home. It's revolutionary here." "Then maybe you guys were doing it wrong before." Sharma couldn't help but laugh. "Maybe we were." In the depths of Site 19, SCP-682 listened to reports of Goku's encounter with SCP-106. The warrior had entered a pocket dimension and damaged it with raw power, had subdued a reality-warping threat without killing it. The reptile's ancient eyes gleamed with something that might have been respect. "Perhaps," it rumbled to itself. "Perhaps this warrior truly is different. Perhaps." For the first time in decades, SCP-682 allowed itself something dangerous. Hope. The neutral meeting location was established 72 hours later at a decommissioned military base in Nevada. Territory claimed by neither the Foundation nor the GOC. Both organizations had agreed to limited personnel, 5 representatives each, plus Goku as the independent party. Dr. Sharma arrived early, flanked by Site Director Harrison, Commander Webb of MTF Alpha 1, and 2 senior researchers. They set up in a prefabricated conference room, security sweeps confirming no surveillance beyond agreed-upon recording equipment. Goku arrived via instant transmission, startling the guards outside despite being expected. You really need to use doors like normal people, Sharma muttered, though her tone was more amused than annoyed. This is faster. Plus, I wanted to make sure you got here okay. Goku looked around the sparse military facility. Feels weird meeting in a place like this. Reminds me of the World Martial Arts Tournament, except less fun. Let's hope it stays peaceful. The GOC brings significant firepower, even to diplomatic meetings. As if summoned by her words, the GOC convoy arrived. 5 armored vehicles, heavily armed escort, and an undercurrent of tension that Goku could feel even from inside the building. Commander Reeves entered first, followed by 4 high-ranking GOC officials. Each one radiated the controlled alertness of soldiers who'd seen too much impossible horror. Their eyes immediately locked onto Goku, who stood casually near the refreshments table, eating a sandwich. Mr. Goku? Reeves said formally, extending his hand. Thank you for agreeing to this meeting. Goku shook it carefully. He'd learned to moderate his strength around normal humans. Sure. Dr. Sharma said you wanted to talk about working together? In essence, yes. Reeves gestured to his team as they took seats across from the Foundation representatives. The Global Occult Coalition has spent decades eliminating anomalous threats. We've always believed that destruction was preferable to containment, that keeping dangerous entities alive only delays inevitable catastrophe. But you're reconsidering? Harrison asked neutrally. We're expanding our perspective, one of the GOC officials said, a woman introduced as Director Chen. Our encounter with Mr. Goku demonstrated something we hadn't fully appreciated. Some anomalies possess both immense power and genuine restraint. Our protocols don't account for that combination. You tried to kill me, and I didn't kill you back, Goku said simply. That's all that happened. That's everything that happened, Reeves corrected. An entity with your demonstrated capabilities, showing perfect non-lethal response to overwhelming military force? That's unprecedented. It suggests you're not a threat to humanity. You're potentially a protector of it. I mean, yeah, that's kind of my thing back home. Protect Earth from stuff that wants to destroy it. Director Chen pulled up a holographic display showing various anomalies. Both our organizations face threats beyond conventional containment or elimination. Entities that could end human civilization if not properly managed. The Foundation's approach has been to study and contain. Ours has been to destroy before they can act. But some threats transcend both strategies. She highlighted several files. SCP-2317, a massive reality-ending entity chained beneath the Earth. The Scarlet King, a conceptual force of destruction. Entities from higher dimensions that viewed humanity as insignificant insects. These aren't things we can kill, Reeves admitted. And the Foundation can't truly contain them, only delay the inevitable. But you, he looked at Goku, you might actually be able to fight them. Goku studied the images with growing interest. Some of those entities looked genuinely dangerous, not Beerus-level dangerous, but enough to be interesting fights. How strong are these things? SCP-2317 is believed capable of destroying multiple universes if fully released, Harrison said quietly. The chains holding it weaken every year. We estimate complete failure within 50 to 200 years. And you want me to fight it when it breaks free? We want to know if you could, Director Chen corrected. Your presence might be enough to delay its breaking. Fear can be a powerful deterrent, even for cosmic entities. I don't like scaring things into behaving, Goku said, his expression serious. That's not protection, that's just being a bully with good intentions. The statement hung in the air. Both organizations had built their entire operations on intimidation through superior force. The Foundation through containment protocols, the GOC through elimination capability. Goku was challenging that fundamental assumption. Then, what would you suggest? Sharma asked genuinely. Same thing I did with 682 and that old man thing. I'll try talking first. Try understanding why they're dangerous. Maybe some of them are like 682. They want purpose, not destruction. Maybe some are scared and lashing out. And if they really are just evil things that want to destroy everything? Goku's expression hardened slightly. Then I'll stop them. But I won't assume that first. Reeves exchanged glances with his team. You're proposing diplomatic engagement with extinction-level entities. I'm proposing treating them like beings instead of problems. It's worked pretty well so far. It's also incredibly risky, Director Chen pointed out. What if one of these entities deceives you, pretends to be reasonable while planning humanity's destruction? I've got pretty good instincts about that kind of thing. Fought enough evil beings to recognize it. Goku tapped his chest. Plus, I can sense killing intent. If something's planning to hurt people, I'll know. Harrison spoke up. Gentlemen, Director Chen, I believe we're approaching this incorrectly. We're not here to recruit Mr. Goku as an asset for either organization. We're here to establish that he exists, that he's protecting this world by choice, and that both our organizations should cooperate rather than compete when it comes to his involvement. Agreed, Reeves said after a moment. We propose the following. The GOC will cease all hostile action toward Mr. Goku. The Foundation will acknowledge that some threats require elimination rather than containment. And Mr. Goku remains an independent party who both organizations can request assistance from, but neither controls. I can work with that, Goku said. Not as long as you stop trying to kill things just because they're different. Some of your anomalies are just people who got dealt a weird hand. They deserve a chance. We'll take that under advisement, Director Chen said diplomatically. The meeting continued for another 2 hours, establishing protocols, communication channels, and mutual recognition agreements. By the end, both organizations had achieved something unprecedented. Genuine cooperation based on pragmatic recognition of a power beyond either's control. As the GOC team prepared to leave, Reeves approached Goku privately. I need to ask, he said quietly. When we attacked you, you could have killed us all instantly. Why didn't you? Because you were scared, Goku replied simply. Scared people do stupid things. Doesn't mean they deserve to die for it. Plus, Doctor, Sharma had been honest with me by then. She asked me to show restraint. I trusted her. That trust might have saved both our organizations from a war we'd have lost. Good. War's a waste of time anyway. Rather spend my energy training or eating. Reeves actually smiled. The most powerful being we've encountered, and you'd rather eat than fight. Well, fighting's fun too, but you need food to have energy for fighting, so food comes first. As the GOC convoy departed, Sharma joined Goku outside the facility. The desert sun was setting, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and reds. You did well in there, she said. Both organizations respect you now. Fear you a little, but respect you. I'd rather they just liked me, but I guess that's a start. Goku looked at the sunset thoughtfully. Dr. Sharma, how long do you think it'll be before you find a way to send me home? The question caught her off guard. In the chaos of the past few days, she'd almost forgotten that Goku's ultimate goal was to return to his own universe. Honestly, I don't know. Dimensional travel of the type you described is beyond our current understanding. It could be months, years, or... She trailed off. Or never. Goku finished. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I miss Chi-Chi and the boys. Miss training with Vegeta and Y. But if I'm stuck here for a while, or forever, I might as well make the best of it. By helping contain anomalies? By protecting people who need protecting. Same thing I'd do back home. He grinned. Plus, some of these SCP things are pretty interesting. That 682 reptile, I want to see if we can actually help it. And maybe find some strong opponents to spar with. That Abel guy was skilled, even if he wasn't super powerful. You want to use SCPs as training partners? Why not? Better than them sitting in cells getting angrier. Abel seemed like he'd enjoy regular sparring matches. And I bet there are others who just need something productive to do. Sharma found herself laughing. You're going to revolutionize how we handle anomalies, aren't you? I'm just going to treat them like people. You guys should try it more often. They returned to Site 19 to find the facility in controlled chaos. Not a breach, something different. SCP-682 had requested communication with the O5 Council. Not demanded, requested. The word choice alone was unprecedented. Goku and Sharma rushed to the observation room above 682's containment. The massive reptilian entity had pulled itself partially from the acid, its regenerating form visible in all its horrifying glory. O5-1's voice came through speakers. SCP-682, you requested this communication. Speak. I have a proposition. The creature rumbled. The Saiyan warrior suggested I might find purpose in protecting rather than destroying. I am considering this. The observation room fell silent. Every researcher, every guard, every monitoring specialist stood frozen. You're offering cooperation? O5-3 asked carefully. I'm offering a test. There are entities in your custody that even you cannot fully contain. Things that make me look benign by comparison. Release me under controlled conditions to confront one of these threats. If I succeed in containing it without killing humans, we discuss further arrangements. If I fail or betray this opportunity, you implement whatever termination protocol you prefer. Why? O5-8's voice was suspicious. What changed? 682's eyes found Goku through the observation glass. The warrior saw what I truly am beneath the hatred. Not a monster seeking destruction, but a being seeking an end to infinite, meaningless suffering. He offered an alternative. I'm curious to see if it's viable. This could be a deception, O5-12 warned. It could be, 682 agreed. But you lose nothing by trying. If I betray you, the Saiyan will stop me. We both know this. All eyes turned to Goku. He nodded. I can handle it if things go wrong, and I don't think they will. Let him try. The O5 Council conferred privately for 3 minutes. When they returned, O5-1 spoke with careful precision. Approved. SCP-682 will be temporarily released under armed escort to assist in recontainment of SCP-939, a pack of predatory entities currently in partial breach status. Success will result in continued evaluation for cooperative containment. Failure or human casualties will result in immediate recontainment and potential termination attempts. Acceptable, 682 said. As the massive creature was extracted from its acid tank for the first time in decades without sedation or restraints, the entire facility watched in tense anticipation. Dr. Sharma stood beside Goku, both of them observing as 682 was fitted with monitoring equipment and escorted towards Sector 12, where SCP-939, with many voices, had breached containment. "This is insane," she whispered. "We're trusting our most dangerous SCP based on one conversation." "Not based on one conversation," Goku corrected. "Based on understanding what it really wants. 682 doesn't want to destroy, it wants to matter. Now we're giving it a chance to matter positively. And if you're wrong, then I'll fix it. That's what I'm here for." They watched through monitors as SCP-682 confronted the pack of SCP-939 instances, massive pack-hunting creatures that mimicked human voices to lure prey. The entities turned on 682 immediately, dozens of them swarming the reptilian giant. 682 tore through them with brutal efficiency. But something was different. It wasn't killing, just incapacitating. Breaking legs, removing teeth, rendering the creatures unable to harm humans without ending their lives. Within 12 minutes, every SCP-939 instance was subdued. Only 682 stood among the fallen creatures, acid dripping from its regenerating wounds, looking up at the monitoring cameras. "Contained," it reported simply. "No human casualties, no fatalities among the prey animals." The facility erupted in shocked conversation. SCP-682 had successfully completed a containment operation, had followed orders, had shown restraint. Everything they'd believed about the entity for decades had just been challenged. O5-1's voice came through, measured and careful. "Acknowledged. SCP-682. Well done. Return to temporary holding for evaluation." As 682 was escorted away, walking peacefully beside armed guards who couldn't quite believe what was happening, Sharma turned to Goku. "You did this. You changed the most dangerous entity in our custody in less than a week." "I just helped it remember what it used to be," Goku said. "The rest was up to 682. What else are you going to change while you're here?" Goku grinned. "Everything I can. This place has been doing things the same way for too long. Time to try something different." In the coming weeks, the SCP Foundation would undergo transformations that challenged its fundamental assumptions. Some SCPs would prove beyond redemption, true monsters that needed containment or elimination. But others, like 682, like various humanoid anomalies, would find new purposes. SCP-0762 would become a training instructor, teaching combat techniques to MTF units while receiving worthy opponents in controlled sparring matches. Several reality benders would be offered research positions, using their abilities to study dimensional physics and potentially find a way to send Goku home. And 682, the unkillable reptile that had terrorized the Foundation for generations, would slowly become its most unlikely protector. A being so powerful and hate-filled that it could face threats even the Foundation feared, motivated by something it had never experienced before. Purpose. The global occult coalition, witnessing these changes, would begin its own internal debates about whether elimination was always the answer. And at the center of it all stood Goku, a warrior from another universe who'd stumbled into a world of contained nightmares and decided the best response was compassion backed by overwhelming power. He still missed his family, still wanted to go home. But while he was here, he'd do what he always did: protect people, challenge assumptions, and maybe, just maybe, remind everyone that even monsters deserved a chance at redemption. Because that's what heroes did. 6 months after his arrival, Goku stood on the roof of Site-19, looking out over the facility that had become his temporary home. The sun was setting. He'd developed an appreciation for Earth sunsets in this universe, similar yet subtly different from the ones back home. Behind him, the door opened. Dr. Sharma approached, carrying 2 cups of coffee. She'd learned he preferred tea, but the gesture was appreciated nonetheless. "Thought I'd find you up here," she said, handing him the cup. "Big day tomorrow." Tomorrow, the Foundation's research team would attempt their first genuine dimensional transport experiment. 6 months of work by reality benders, physicists, and anomalous technology specialists, all aimed at opening a stable portal to Goku's home universe. The chances of success were estimated at 37%. "Yeah," Goku said quietly. "Might finally get to go home." "You don't sound excited." "I am. I really miss Chi-Chi and the boys. Miss Vegeta calling me an idiot while we train. Miss Master Roshi's turtle, all of it." He took a sip of coffee, grimaced at the bitterness, but kept drinking. "But I'm gonna miss this place too. Miss helping you guys. Miss sparring with Abel. Even miss arguing with 682 about philosophy." Sharma smiled. In 6 months, the Foundation had transformed. Not completely. There were still necessary containments. Still dangerous entities that required isolation. But the approach had fundamentally shifted. Anomalies were evaluated as individuals now. Rehabilitation was attempted before termination, and the rate of violent breaches had dropped by 43%. 682 asked me to tell you something, she said. It said, "Tell the warrior that if he leaves, I will remember what he taught me. I will try to be what he saw in me rather than what I had become." Goku's eyes widened slightly. 682 said that? In its own words, it's not perfect, still has violent episodes, still hates most things, but it's trying. Because you showed it that trying mattered. That's all anyone can do. Try. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment, watching the last rays of sunlight fade. "What will you do if the portal works?" Sharma asked. "Go home, hug my family, eat Chi-Chi's cooking, probably get yelled at for being gone so long." Goku grinned. "Then I'll train, get stronger, and maybe figure out how to come back and visit. We Wise might be able to help with that once I explain where I've been. And if it doesn't work, then I keep doing what I've been doing. Protecting people, making friends, finding strong opponents to spar with. This universe has plenty of challenges. The GOC mentioned some entity called the Scarlet King that might need stopping eventually. That sounds interesting. The Scarlet King is a conceptual force of destruction that exists across multiple realities simultaneously. It's not interesting. It's an apocalypse scenario. Even better, I do my best fighting when the stakes are high." Sharma laughed despite herself. "You're insane. You know that, right?" "Yeah, I get that a lot." Below them, the facility bustled with evening activity. Researchers rotated shifts. MTF units conducted patrols, and in various containment cells throughout the complex, anomalies that had once been nothing but threats now served purposes. Some helping with research, some providing security, some simply learning to exist without hatred. Not all of them. Some remained too dangerous, too fundamentally hostile. But enough had changed to prove Goku's approach wasn't just naive optimism. It was a genuine alternative to the Foundation's old methods. "Whatever happens tomorrow," Sharma said, "thank you for everything. You didn't have to help us. Could have broken out the first day and left us to our problems. That's not who I am, never has been." Goku finished his coffee and set down the cup. "Besides, you guys helped me too. Gave me food, a place to stay, interesting challenges. And Dr. Sharma, you were honest with me when it mattered. That counts for a lot. Even though we initially lied, you made it right. That's what matters. People make mistakes. It's fixing them that shows who you really are. They returned inside as night fell completely. Tomorrow would bring either reunion with his home universe or confirmation that he was stranded permanently. Either way, Goku had made his peace with it. The multiverse was infinite, full of universes, each with their own laws, their own threats, their own people needing protection. He'd stumbled into one of them by accident and found purpose in the chaos. If he went home, he'd carry these lessons with him. If he stayed, he'd continue the work he'd started. Because whether in his universe or this one, Son Goku was a protector, a warrior who fought not for glory or power, but because people, all people, unhuman or anomalous, deserved someone willing to stand between them and the darkness. The SCP Foundation had tried to contain him and learned instead that some things couldn't be caged, not because they were too powerful, but because they were too fundamentally good. And in learning that lesson, the Foundation had become something better than it was before. Tomorrow would bring answers. But tonight, Goku meditated in his quarters, surrounded by friends he'd made in the most unlikely place, at peace with whatever came next. The multiverse had thrown him into a world of contained nightmares. He'd responded by teaching them to dream of something better. And that, more than any display of power, was his greatest victory.